All right, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Market Shares. I'm your host, Tony Blodgett, and today I am joined by Jackie Madche. Jackie, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
How are you? We've had to reschedule this a couple times, but we finally made it in the studio.
Finally, we did it. We're here now.
We're here now. Well, hey, we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in the market. We're going to talk a little bit about Jackie's background and her unique way of helping both her clients and her realtors in really what's become a pretty challenging market for a lot of buyers, just with interest rates and just it's a little bit unsettled out there.
Well, it's different because people are used to be in the easy time with the low interest rates. And right now, what is happening is that with the interest rates so high, first-time home buyers are out of the market. It's very hard for them to qualify. We have to go back to what is Mortgage 101 and do mortgages the way how it used to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very different market right now.
Do you work with mostly first-time home buyers then?
I have all kinds of clients. I love to work with first-time home buyers. I have a passion to help people.
Yeah.
And once I start working with them, it becomes from first-time home buyers to second buyers, and a lot of times they become investors. And a lot of times they send me their kids. So it's like family friends now.
Well, you've been doing this for a while. Let's start there. Let's go back a little bit and just talk about, when you got in the mortgage business. Why did you choose this industry? Or are you like so many people where the industry found you? Tell us a little bit about that story.
Well, kinda. It's actually pretty fun because I used to be a private banker. And I used to refer a lot of business to the mortgage person. And then she called me one day and said, "You are losing money. You need to be a loan officer." And I was like, "Really? Well, I don't know a lot about mortgages." It was perfect timing because I was getting sick of being a banker and I was having a good time. So I went and I met with them, and the same day they offered me the job. But the problem was that I didn't know anything. When I bought my first home, I bought it from my father-in-law. And he was the bank. So I have no idea. Even the terminology was something that I was very unfamiliar. And I was very lucky that the person that offered me the job, she became my mentor. And it was great because in the beginning it was very scary, a lot of things that I didn't know, but she was with me all the time. So it was pretty fun. The first year was horrible. The first year I worked every day. I believe that I gave maybe 20,000 cars. Everybody that I saw, I gave them my car. And I didn't have any business. Then my husband said, "Okay, let's make a deal. 6 more months, and if you don't make it, you got to quit it because you have little kids." And it was painful to know that. So we went to the calendar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and he put in big letters, "Quit your job."
Oh, no.
And every month I saw that. Then I say, I love to cook. So I went to Whole Foods, and I was teaching cooking classes. And then I did my cooking class, and then right after I did my first-time home buyers class.
Oh.
So I went, I give the cooking class, and then after all, I say, "Okay, but my real job is mortgages. So you guys need somebody, please call me." And then once people start calling me, I always was busy. So it was fun, and I just met my mentor like a couple of weeks ago. We're remembering all these things.
So your passion for food is what got your business going, is what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I think there's a lot of value in, and I talk a lot about this, is getting in front of groups of people, doing first-time home buyer classes. When you can take, and share knowledge with a room full of people, whether it be first-time home buyers, investors, or real estate agents, I mean, that's always the best bet. So I'm glad that you were able to couple that with your passion for food, and that's a very cool story. So you've been doing this for almost as long as I have. I think we were talking about this before we started the episode. I started in 97. You started in 98, right?
Yeah.
So we've been through a couple of these cycles in the industry, but obviously you still love it. So what is it about this career that you love so much, and what's kept you going for all these years helping people with their mortgage?
Well, first of all, to get somebody their first home something that is super cool, right?
Yeah.
It's my first home. I don't know what I'm doing. And to me, when I sit down with somebody, I'm just not thinking about this mortgage. I see myself with somebody that has so much information about yourself that when I see your credit scores, I see your statements, it's a lot of things that you probably don't know. And my job for me is more than mortgages. For me, it's not only teach you what to do, but relationships. That at the beginning, I come over and I say, okay, you know what, you have this, that, this situation. I believe that for you, let's talk about your home right now. What is the meaning of this home? What is the plan that you're going to have with this home? And depends what the person tell me, right? Most of the time, your first home, you always keep it between 3 to 5 years. After that, you refinance or you sell your homes, right? And to me, it's cool. We sit down with this person. We go through all the options that they have. I will give them my advice what to do. But after all, it's their decision, right? But once you connect with people, I had people that I started doing my clients 20 years ago, they still call me.
Yeah.
And that is fun because you continue with these people. And a lot of times they call me, nothing related to mortgages.
Well, so what I hear you saying, and this is where I think a lot of people don't understand what we do for a living. They think that, we just give people a home loan, and it's so much more than that.
It's
is what
more
you're
than
saying.
that.
So what you do, you meet with a client, you're going to look at their income, you're going to look at their assets, you're going to look at their liabilities, their credit rating, and then really what's their goal for this house? Is it their long-term home? Is it just a step to the next home? Is it possibly going to turn that into an investment at some point? It sounds like you really take a very holistic approach with your clients.
Well, yeah, and right now, what is happening in the market, it gives you exactly that situation. A lot of people are not ready for this, right? They come over and they really want to buy a house. Jackie, I want to buy a house. A lot of times it's not the right time for the person. No matter that I want to sell the house, no matter that I want a mortgage, it's not the right time. So you need to start preparing people. And like right now, the way how the market is, we know there is a lot of uncertainty. A lot of people have fears. They don't know what is going to happen. When I sit down with somebody, like this situation about we can do buy downs for a person.
Right.
Not even real estate agents. And a buy down is something that is pretty cool. It will help somebody to get into a house, and it's going to be a transition period. That usually when I use that buy down, it's most of the time to people that are going out of college, that we know that right now they just graduate and they need to have a little bit of time to get their job going and their situations. That's usually what I do. Right now it's not that. Right now it's to try to help people to buy a home that they can afford and to pass this time that is so much uncertainty.
Yeah. So are you referring to like a 2-1 buy down? Is that what you've been talking to clients about?
Yeah, the short time buy down.
Yeah.
2-1 buy down. I'm sure you know how it works.
I know
but
how
we
it
can
works.
explain it.
We should, yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I think what's cool, there's some controversy about buy downs, I think, in general, right? Because there's more than one way to spend money to buy the interest rate down, especially if you're using the seller's money, right? It's like, should you take a reduction in the price? Should you do a temporary buy down? Like what we're going to talk about, I'm a big fan of temporary buy downs. Or do you do a permanent buy down and just buy the interest rate down, permanently? I think that in this market, most of the clients that are really having a challenge with affordability can get a lot more bang for their buck with the 2-1 buy down. It's going to give them a lot more help today, knowing that there's a pretty high likelihood that they can restructure their mortgage, in the future. So let's talk about the 2-1 buy down and kind of how you've been using it with people.
Well, okay, so right now, I believe it's the best time to buy. I talk to my agents. I sit down with them. Everybody's afraid, no matter what is happening. It's an excellent time for first-time home buyers and to get into a property that before you were not able to afford.
Right.
So somebody was going to buy a property, and that property was going to be $800,000. Sellers want to sell right now.
Right.
So the buy down is a great situation, not only for buyers, but for sellers.
Right.
I just went to an open house over the weekend. The seller is panicking because they have the property in the market for almost 6.5 weeks. They want to reduce. They want to reduce. I sit down with them. I explain how the buy down works. Listen, you don't need to reduce your sales price so much. What you need to do is to be sure that the person that buy your home can afford this home.
Right.
And the way how you can afford the house is offering to the seller to get that rate that they cannot afford. So do a 2-1 buy down. He didn't have any idea. The real estate agent didn't have any idea. So I sat down with a paper and pencil. I say, okay, right now you put 20% down. You have great credit. Your loan balance is around $700,000, $800,000. You do your interest rate with the market the way how it is, probably it's going to be around 5.8, 6%. So when you do a 2 buy down, the first year is 2 points lower. So your first year interest rate is 3% or 3.8. The second year is 4.8. The third year and on is going to be the 5.875. And I did some quick numbers, and look at how cool this is. In the first year, your payment is going to be reduced by $679.
Wow.
Your second payment is going to be reduced $349. And then you're going to have your regular payment. Now, we hoping and we thinking that the interest rates are going to decrease in that time, right? 3 years from now. Okay, we know exactly what the payments are going to be. This is not an adjustable rate.
Right.
That you don't know what is going to happen. I'm telling you right now, this is your payments. You can count. The only thing that this is going to change is your property taxes or your homeowner's insurance. So you have time to prepare for this.
Yep.
Now, if the interest rate reduces before that, you can always refinance. We don't have any prepayment penalty.
That's right.
You can refinance. Oh, by the time that this matures, if you still cannot afford the payment, you can do another buy down.
Right.
So it's a very good way. And I see agents very scared and very worried. I have been going to offices with agents and explaining to them it's an awesome time to buy.
Yep.
So I believe it's a great thing to do right now.
Yeah, I think that people underestimate the value of having options in this market. And the challenge has been for the last 2 years is that there's no inventory. And so if you wanted to buy a home, you almost got forced into really whatever was there. And, I'll tell you, there's nothing worse than, being excited about buying your first home and then getting a home that you aren't just in love with. And so I think right now, the fact that there's inventory, there's options for you to choose from, I agree with you. That definitely tips the scales in favor of the buyer. It's a big difference when you can take your time, find the right home for your family, instead of being forced into making a quick decision because there's no inventory. And I promise you that what goes up will come down. And when interest rates come back down, the inventory challenges in the United States are not going to solve themselves. There is not enough homes for the number of families and number of household creations. We know this to be true. So there will be an inventory crunch at some point in the future. So I agree with you. Lots of reasons to buy now. The nice thing about the 2-1 buy down, as you explained, is that regardless of what the rate is, even if rates go up higher, even if rates are at 7%, you still start at 5%. If rates are at 6%, you can start at 4%. So it's 2 points lower for the first 12 months, and then it's 1 point lower, 1% point lower for the next 12 months. And the seller can pay for it in this case. So how much would it cost approximately for a seller? Instead of, if the seller is, they're getting nervous. Now look, 6 weeks on the market it's not really that long.
Well, but it's a month ago, 2 months ago, it was a long time.
It feels like a long time. Historically speaking, it's not that long, but still, if you're a seller and you were going to do, a $25,000 or $50,000 price reduction, what's the approximate cost of funding a buy down for a buyer?
A 2-1 buy down is 2.125% of the loan amount. So like right now, I have a sales price, $700.
Okay.
Put in 20% down payment. What the seller will have to contribute will be $12,000.
Okay. So they're going to contribute $12,000 to help pay for the buy down in whole versus doing maybe a $25,000 or $50,000 price reduction, and the buyer is going to have a $600 lower payment.
The first year, $600. The
Yeah.
second year, $349. So I just closed a loan like that. The buyer has their home in the market for almost 3.5 months. Totally freaking out. Seller is totally freaking out. He doesn't know what's going to happen with this. I sit down with the two of them, the seller, the buyer, and real estate agent. Say, okay, you are willing to reduce your sales price, right? We need for the buy down, we need to have this amount of money. We need to have the closing costs. What about we reduce all that and we had the deal?
Yeah.
And the seller have no problem. And for the buyer was awesome because that's a house that he really, really wanted. It's a
Right.
beautiful neighborhood that before he couldn't. So between the property being in the market for that loan, the seller already have reduced 120 grand, and now the seller give us back almost $42,000. We got everything that we needed.
So they covered
Everybody
all the
happy.
closing costs and paid for the buy down.
Everything
Yeah.
that, yeah.
That's incredible. I mean, these opportunities just didn't exist 6 months ago. So I think that it is very powerful. Let me ask you this. What do you think? I have my own opinions, but what do you think this market is going to do? Do you have concerns about values long term? What do you think interest rates are going to do here as we move into 2023?
Well, come on. We got to be real in here, okay? Seattle is a beautiful city. We have a lot of people coming to Seattle, avoiding fires, avoiding hurricanes, avoiding snow. So people are coming to the city. And Seattle, we don't have a lot of homes available.
Right.
So the sales price, I believe that right now, because everything that is happening, and again, a lot of uncertainty, they have reduced the sales price. But I don't believe that that's going to continue all the time. I believe the interest rates are going to be high, at least for a year and a half, 2 years, to compensate everything, right? But like I said, if you see a home that you like it, and you have been trying to buy the house, you call the seller, you negotiate the price, you get a 2-1 buy down, you're going to get the most beautiful home that you have.
Yep.
And what's going to happen? I already in closing loans that the appraisals come a lot higher than what people are buying, right? So being in Seattle, I believe the property values are going to increase a little bit, but I don't believe that they're going to go rock bottom.
Yeah, well, I think there's a big difference between listing prices, either, sellers reducing price after they list, listing prices starting a little bit lower. That's very different than appraised values dropping, right? These are two different things. And I do still believe that even from this point into the next 12 months, we're going to still see appreciation in house values in many parts of the country. There's going to be certainly areas where we see a slight pullback in values, but I still think that, look, last month I did a podcast talking about the Case Shiller numbers, and year over year appreciation as of, I think it was July, is still like 18%. So yeah, we're not going to see double digit numbers, but low single digit appreciation, which is historically what you should expect anyway when you purchase a home. So I think that from that perspective, we're in good shape. I actually am a little more optimistic about interest rates. I think that the Fed is being very aggressive to fight inflation, which they need to. But like everything, I think they're going to overshoot the mark. I think that they're going to continue to raise rates. So rates, I think, stay pretty high, at least through the end of the year. But I'm not going to be surprised if by the first quarter of 2023, we start seeing rates come down. Just this week, we've had a really good move in mortgage interest rates, that they've improved quite a bit. So, we'll see. I believe the worst is behind us. I think we're going to see elevated rates for a while. But I'm actually optimistic they're going to come down. Now, I don't think they're going to just plummet like they did when COVID hit.
I don't believe that will happen again.
But I do think that they'll ease themselves back down, and especially in these higher price ranges, it doesn't take a large drop in interest rates to make it beneficial to restructure your mortgage through a refinance. So I think there'll be opportunities for people if they do opt for a temporary, like a 2-1 buy down. And we have 3 2-1 buy downs. We have 2-1 buy downs. We have 1-year buy downs. We got all the buy down options. So talk to Jackie about buy down options because I think it's a good thing. So let's talk about your referral partners. You work with a lot of real estate agents. In addition to working with a lot of first time home buyers, how are you working with your agents? I mean, it sounds like obviously you're going to open houses, you're sharing some of these strategies. Any other ideas for the real estate community that you're talking about with the people you work with?
You need to learn what's happening with your market. Be aware of what is happening, just like we talked. Because you as a real estate agent, you're going to be giving the advice to that person that is or selling the house or purchasing the house. So what I like to do is that I like to talk to my agents every time that I see something that is important, call them, hey, this is happening, be aware. Or we go to lunch or I go to their offices and just be in contact with them. A lot of times they have buyers that they are waiting, no a lot of communication. If an agent has somebody like that, I want to sit down with them in the phone, call this person and say, okay, this is what is happening with the market. You need to be aware of this and this. This is a great time to buy or to sell. But I believe agents, they need to be involved in what is the market, what is happening with rates, what the Fed is going to be doing, because I need to educate them because they are my partners, right? I want them to succeed. I want them to do good income like I do, be able to help their clients. So to me, I try to be in contact with them a lot, trying to get them all the information, what is happening and what I can do.
Yeah. Well, I think that, what I love about the way you work with your clients is that you take a very consultative approach. You look at everything. And I think that you also really recognize that in this market right now, both as a lender and as a realtor, you have to be the source of information
Absolutely.
and knowledge for your clients. I think that we're in a time right now where it was so different just 6 months ago. It's hard to believe how different it was over the last 2 years. But right now, you said it at the beginning, people are scared, people are uncertain. And what we can do as real estate professionals, as mortgage professionals, and as realtors is we can bring sanity. We can bring information, knowledge, facts, strategies on how to work through this challenging market. And I think that you really embody all of those things. And so there's no surprise to me that you're doing so well in this market, because this is the kind of market that people like you do very well in, because this is not a time to be an order taker. This is not a time to just take for granted that your phone's going to ring. I mean, Jackie's out there going to open houses, helping sellers with strategies, educating her clients, and making sure that her realtors are empowered with what's going on in the market. I mean, this is exactly what a mortgage professional today should be doing.
It's exciting time. I love to do this. I love to do this. And when you sit down with somebody and show them we have all these auctions, don't be afraid. We're going to get the house. That's awesome. I love what I do.
Yeah. Well, it shows, and I'm super proud of you. I'm happy to work with you. I'm glad we finally found time to get on to Market Shares and put this episode out. So, hey, for those of you watching, thank you so much for your time and attention. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and tell other mortgage and real estate professionals about it. We try to bring a wide range of information to this channel. So I hope that you're enjoying the content. Jackie, thanks again for taking the time to come on. And until next time, we'll see you soon. Bye for now.
Thank you.